behind the scenes look from the Linda's Birthday Bash held at Linda's Speedway in honor of Speedway promoter and operator Linda Batz on August 14th of 2020. For me, of course, I wanted to make it a special race for my mom. She has done more than I could have ever asked, and especially with the racetrack, this has become such a staple in my life that I really wanted something big that night for her. So we decided to do a front row challenge for the 600s. I knew going into the event that we were going to pay more than the 2,000. We didn't advertise it. We stayed at 2,000 for the front row challenge, and the idea behind that was just kind of a different marketing opportunity. Everybody kind of goes in the same marketing path, so we went with a little bit of a surprise element. And the front row challenge just seems so fitting because you can really link fans and drivers. We had so many fans here that aren't normally here because it was $1 admission, and we even had sponsors come out and make it free admission for a lot of the people. So we had people that don't know the drivers, so when the races start, they say, oh, I'll pick that guy and I'll cheer for him. Well, we made it really easy for them to pick somebody because the guy was going to give up a starting spot, go to the back, and try to win a lot of extra money. The start of the night was a little rough. We had people funneling in, and it seemed like we were okay. And then I walked into the office, and they told me we only had 16 600s, which obviously put a pretty quick damper on what we were hoping to do. The stands were filling up, so I felt like we had the audience for the show and not the performers. The guys we had were good race car drivers, but we only had 16 of them. And for me personally, here I am in a spot where I've all but committed to pay the 2,000 to the winner if they go to the back. And Tommy Koonsman only has to pass 15 more cars to do it, and he's done that on a regular night without an incentive. So obviously I was rethinking things. I talked to a couple people, and they said that there's not 24 cars and that might be an out, but I just didn't feel like that was fair to the guys that did come to support it. So we just stood back, and at the drivers meeting I told them I don't know what we're going to pay, but we'll still do it. We'll still do everything normal. And I told Tim, we were going to stick to the plan and run through. But again, in my mind, I'm one of the only people at the racetrack. There were only 2 of us that knew. And I'm thinking in my mind, well, what am I going to do to pay the big money when, again, we only have 16 cars that person has to pass? Or am I going to have to just alter my whole plan? So we're rolling out in warm-ups, and I'm still thinking about what we're going to do, trying to decide if this is going to work or not. We've struggled with the track up to this point, so we redid the track over the off-season. We have this big race. We really want to try to present a good racetrack, so I'm worried about the racetrack, and on top of it, trying to figure out in the back of my mind what we're going to do with the front row challenge. They run time. For me, one of the big moments of the night was when we announced that my mom was going to be the first inductee into the Hall of Fame. That stuff's really important to me, and that was kind of what the night was all about. So once we did that, I kind of felt the edge come off a little bit, and I knew that we were probably going to follow through with our plan that we had in place.
Is over the off season we've been working very hard to put together the Hall of Fame here at Linda Speedway. So tonight, on the night of the birthday bash, we'll make the official announcement that the first inductee into the Linda Speedway Hall of Fame will be Linda Batz.
They run time trials. Kind of the guys we suspected would be fast were fast. Now we set the heat race lineups. The heat races go out. Fred Heinley wins the first one, so I think, well, that'd be cool if Fred could take the challenge. We'll see what happens in the second one. And the second one was pretty crazy. I'm standing in the back talking to somebody. They take the green, and on the start, Koonsman, I don't know if he got loose or if it dug in or what, but Rumsey hits the cushion and just drives around the outside of him. And I walked away from the person I was talking to very rudely, to be honest with you. And I walked up to the fence, and I was glued to the fence for the next 8 laps watching Logan Rumsey hold off Tommy Koonsman for the heat race win. And the whole dynamic of what I was thinking was changing at that very time, because now we took my biggest concern, which was Koonsman driving through the field, and now I have two guys on the front row of the challenge for the pursuit, Heinley and Rumsey, who, if they take the challenge, are definitely going to be the Cinderella story. Coming out of the heat races, I think the biggest thing going into the pursuit was the racetrack. It was good. It was wide. It had a cushion. The surface was wet. It was racy. So we had given them the platform to perform on. Now I was back to trying to make the decision of knowing when I walked to victory lane after the pursuit what I was going to do. And I think I just kind of flipped the coin in my mind and decided that no matter what, we were going to give the option for the 2000 to go to the back and kind of see what happened. And from that point on, I think it was just the unexpected. So the pursuit starts, green flag comes out, Heinley's on the pole, Logan starts second, and Logan just bolts. He's got half a straightaway on the field. So the deal was, we ran 4 laps, we threw the yellow. So the caution flag comes out, and the last 3 drop out, and it's Logan, TK, Jesse, and Richie. And they line up double file, and Logan chooses the bottom. And I thought, he must know something. And the green came out, and before he could even make a move on TK, Tommy hit the cushion and just drove around him, and he was gone. And at that point, walking to victory lane, I thought for sure we were going to watch Tommy go to the back for 2. Victory lane, and I started talking to Tommy, and we offered him $1,500, and he said no. I think we offered him 12 first, and then 15, and then 2, and he turned them all down. And we offered him a little bit more than 2, and he wasn't interested in that. And at that point, I was pretty surprised. And then we turned over to Logan, and I think that's when the show really began.
Restarts, and I definitely did not want any more restarts because, you know, the bottom and the first corner.
So Tommy turns down all the money, and then there's Logan. So now you've really set the stage with 2 polar opposite. You have the ultimate villain in Tommy Koonsman. He wins every week. He's TK, and he's turned down this money. And the people are thinking, oh, the arrogance of this person. And then there's Logan Rumsey, who's a 14-year-old kid. He's shy. He drives race cars because that's what he does. And now we're going to offer him the money and offer him the opportunity to be the hero of the night and go to the back. So we throw some money at him, he says no. We throw some more money at him, he says no. We get to 5,000. And at this point, the fans are clamoring. They want him to do it. So I'm making the decision that we're going to go as high as I can go to get him to do it. At 5, he started to take the bait, and he called Tom Rumsey, his dad, to victory lane. Tom came out, and Tom's pretty much told Logan it was his decision. And I don't know if Logan knew I'd go higher, if he's just like the ultimate poker player, or if he just didn't want to do it for 5, but he said no. And I knew we didn't want to drag this out, so I jumped up to 7,500. And they talked about it for 10 seconds, and Logan shook his head yes. We walked to the front of victory lane, and I said, Logan, are you going to take the challenge for $7,500? And I mean, at this point, the fans didn't really get loud. I think they were kind of in shock. I don't think there was the, oh my gosh, what are we seeing? It was an anticipation. But the second Logan said yes, and that's all Logan said, yes, the crowd erupted. The people went crazy, and we were set. We were set for 30 laps with Logan starting last to try to drive through the field for $7,500. And no matter what happened at that point, he was going to be the most popular driver leaving Linda Speedway on August 14th. He asked me if this was for real, and I said yes. they went out, I just went back and talked to Logan and wished him luck. Told him to be smart because it's easy to get excited when you're racing for that kind of money. And he did good. He was calm. He had a calm demeanor to him. I think Tom was more nervous than he was. And I think a lot of people were. A lot of people were on the edge of their seat. They wanted to see if he was going to be able to do it. And again, he was the ultimate guy to have do it. And I don't think I ever really got nervous. My eyes opened a little bit when Tommy and Jesse were racing real hard at the beginning because, again, if they get together and wreck a couple cars, this is significantly easier for Logan. Green flag dropped, and I think all eyes were at the back of the pack. I watched the front, and Tommy and Jesse were going pretty hard, and I glanced back, and Logan would pass a car, and then he passed 2 cars, and one time he pulled a big slider, and he got a couple more, and the next thing you know, the red flag came out on lap 6, and Logan was in the front. And then I started to wonder, how far is he going to go, and can he get to the front and get the big money? Following the red flag, Logan made a couple moves, got into 4th, and then, they ran the rest of the race green. He traded some slide jobs with Richie, and that was actually a really good race. But he just ran out of time, and really, he got the 3rd, and that was about it. Jesse was probably half the straightaway ahead of him, and TK had driven away from even Jesse at that point. So, it was good because Logan made a really good run and he got to the front, and that was what the fans wanted to see. It was awesome to watch his reaction after the race. Barry Angstadt was the ultimate MC, talked to Tommy and then pulled Logan over and just let the fans bask in the moment with Logan and let Logan do it too. And then, Barry interviewed Logan and talked to him about the race, and we had a really cool deal that night, and it was really special to be part of it, and I'm glad we did it, even though there were moments in my mind where it was sketchy, and I didn't really know what we were doing, but the anticipation of the event for me was high, and I knew what we wanted to do, and I didn't want to change that, and we did it, and I'm proud.
Right up here, bud. Hear that? That's all for you, buddy. That's all for you. They appreciate the show you put on.
So I hope this was insightful, a little look into what was going on behind the scenes at the Linda's Birthday Bash. I know for me it was a little different than it was for everybody else because I knew what was going to happen, and just a little bit of my thought process throughout the night. But I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the people involved, all the drivers and crews, the fans, our staff, all the people that worked behind the scenes with me to make the event a success. There were so many people that just worked hard leading into this event and helped make it special. So this was the Linda's Birthday Bash, and it was a really cool race, and it proved that you never know what's going to happen at Linda's.